Good Friday evening. Thanks for joining us for Unscripted here on Up North Live. We hope you're staying safe in this dangerously cold weather, as well as any pets, kids, and elderly friends and family members out there. Getting right to the weather, though, as we're seeing what feels like an Arctic blast, is Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix taking a look at these frigid cold temperatures really across the north.
Yeah, you're right, Melissa. It is cold. In fact, let's start at the Mackinac Bridge, our Holiday Inn Express camera. There's the bridge right here. Couple things to note. Well, you can actually see the bridge tonight. We've had leak effect snow, at least here, a little break in that. But it's 0 in the wind chill, what it feels like with that west wind there, 23 below. 0 is the current wind chill there in Mackinac City tonight. Temperatures right now, here they are. Some spots were around 0, or actually even this afternoon stayed below 0 in some instances. Gaylord right now 3 below. Same thing at Drummond Island, 0 on Mackinac Island, and Newberry right now at 2 below. Here's the wind chill, at least right now, Newberry 24 below. So it's, again, a very cold afternoon and evening, and many spots will head down below 0 overnight tonight as far as temperatures are concerned. We'll run through. We have winter storm warnings for loose parts of Mackinac, or Chippewa County, until tomorrow morning, and then winter weather advisories in purple for lake effect snow. And then there's the extreme cold warning for much of northern Michigan through tomorrow. It stays chilly into our weekend. We'll look at that, and I'll look at into next week coming up in a couple minutes.
Amongst the statewide shutdowns and emergency weather advisories, local businesses are working toward offering people a warm place to be, food, and access to restrooms. The Charlevoix County Commission on Aging and Charlevoix County Emergency Management worked together to make sure their community had somewhere to rely on in this sub-zero weather. Today, 4 senior centers in Charlevoix County opened up doors as a warming center.
The Charlevoix County Commission on Aging plans to work with our emergency preparedness partners in the future for any sort of emergency event so that our centers can be utilized to further assist community members with things that they need, whether it's information, food, a warm place, or a place to get resources.
Whelan says the centers invited people in to make sure that they had access to food and a safe place to stay. As of right now, the senior centers are not planning to open on Saturday. Well, while people are warming inside, U.S. Postal Service carriers say that winter weather can significantly impact how they do their jobs. Despite bitter temperatures, mail delivery often continues unless supervisors determine the conditions are unsafe. Carriers say that routes are just adjusted in the winter with extra help added when needed. Workers are given proactive gear, and they are encouraged to take breaks if the cold becomes too severe. But extreme cold, deep snow, and icy walkways can still create hazards during deliveries.
The biggest thing is most of us are walking several blocks at a time. If you could just make sure there's no ice, and then the snow, when it gets to be knee deep or things like that, it gets to be difficult out here.
And we all know it does get dark earlier this time of the year. So Anderson says leaving those porch lights on can also help carriers stay safe. And with this frigid weather, you might not be thinking about running outdoors, let alone running a marathon. But a Northern Michigan native is now celebrating a major milestone. Amy Rowlands, a Charlevoix native who now lives in Tucson, Arizona, just completed her dream of running a marathon in all 50 states. This last week, she ran her last one in Hawaii. Joining us tonight is Amy Rowlands from her home in Tucson. Amy, congratulations on completing your dream of running a marathon in all 50 states.
Thank you so much. I feel like I'm on cloud 9, and I'm not quite sure to pinch me. Did it actually happen?
Incredible, as you should feel that way. You just ran your last marathon, I should say, in Hawaii this past weekend.
That's true. Maui Oceanfront, it was this past Sunday. That was state 50, but it was my 50th marathon. I have a couple extra on the first. I started in Michigan with Bayshore in 2004, so 22 years ago. So it's been a long journey. And then also another notable Michigan one was Detroit. So I started out in Michigan. And the interesting thing is that I didn't know when I ran the first one that I would have this journey of 50 states. I started with just one and say, I don't think this is something I can do. And so, but I'm going to test myself. I'm going to try. I'm going to put in the work and see if I can do it. And once I did, I was like, oh, I like that feeling. I just accomplished something that I never thought I could do. So I tried it again. And that was Detroit. And then I saw this person wearing a shirt that said 50 State Club. And I thought, what started me on this journey was a journey of healing physically. I had high blood pressure about 22 years ago, and I changed my nutrition and I changed my activity level. And praise the Lord, after that, I'd had healing. And so I wanted to continue the journey to say, what is going to be, it's not going to be just a one-time, one and done. I want this to be a lifestyle change. So that began the 50 state journey. And here I am 22 years later.
And you also have done the Boston Marathon in 2012, New York City Marathon in 2014 as well.
That is true. It was a dream to go to Boston to qualify because it meant not everyone gets to do it. So I wanted to qualify, which means I have to be a certain pace for your age and gender. And the fact that I was able to do that just felt surreal. They call it capturing the unicorn, and I did. And I was so thankful for that. But also just to be a part of just something that, again, I didn't think that I was possible. New York City, okay, 2014. That's a way that you're going to see the city that no one else sees. Mm-hmm. Because how often do they stop off traffic in New York City?
That's true.
So it was really cool to go through all 5 boroughs in New York City in 2014. Another notable would be probably Marine Corps Marathon. I just love the patriotism and the somberness about respecting our military.
And obviously, I mean, this was a personal journey for you. I mean, you talked about your health and making sure that, you know, this was something that you stayed on top of. What do you think you learned about yourself along the way?
That I can do hard things.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was possible. And I just feel like anybody who wants to could do the same thing. Proving to yourself that you can do it, I think, is a big thing. It gives you a confidence boost, and you carry it throughout other areas of your life. And so I would just encourage anybody, it doesn't have to be a marathon, but just to try things that are hard, because you might surprise yourself.
Are you still running? Can I ask, like, do you have plans on any other upcoming races or marathons in the future?
Yes, running. Yes, I'm not going to become a couch potato now, but I probably will, what do I call it? Retire this distance. But I plan to challenge myself in new ways. Maybe do a triathlon. I'm planning to, as you said, mentioned that I live in Arizona. So hiking rim to rim of the Grand Canyon. That will be 40 miles when you do 20 miles out and 20 miles back. So challenging myself in new ways is my plan. Maybe write a book about this 50 state journey, and just learning that sometimes in order to accomplish something extraordinary, you have to get out of your comfort zone.
A great message. Amy, thank you. We send you, well, actually, I should say, I wish you'd send us some warm weather from Arizona. We are freezing here in Northern Michigan, but it's wonderful to speak with you. Thank you for taking the time.
I'm so sorry. I'll have to send you warm weather.
Yes, please send us some. We would love that. Thank you so much, Amy. Moving on to our question of the day. We wanted to know, how many states have you been to? We have the question posted on our website, UpNorthLive.com. And you can also go to our Facebook page, UpNorthLive, or just scan the QR code right there on your screen. As always, we're going to check those results and responses coming up a little bit later in the show. Well, in the summer months, when the days are long, the temperatures are warm, Northern Michigan wineries are busy places. In the winter, buried in snow with those single-digit temperatures, those vineyards are pretty empty places, except one day when a very special harvest takes place to make sure that there's a very special wine. In tonight's Exploring Michigan, we take a look at not only the process, but the upcoming festival to celebrate it.
I do want to give them a shout out. It's very cold. I've done it myself, and I think I was outside for 5 minutes and my eyelashes froze to my eyebrows.
Sitting in the tasting room that she now manages, a much warmer Haley Green can pour a glass of what she once froze for.
It's a great product, but the love and effort that goes into it too makes it even better.
That product, the ice wine.
something you sip on after dinner.
A sweet sip, but bitter conditions to get to that point.
Got up super early. We've been harvesting today. And then you got to take it directly to the press. You have to press it right away while it's still frozen.
In late fall, when the other grapes are harvested for traditional wines, some are left to feel the chill of a northern Michigan winter.
It's cold, cold.
When it gets cold enough, like really cold, the harvesters are back to the vineyard for a blitz of getting those frozen solid grapes off the vine and to the presses.
The juice that comes out is extremely concentrated, so there's a lot of flavors.
Some years it doesn't get cold enough to complete the process. This year, that's not a problem.
Obviously cold enough where we can get ice wine, so we do it super quick.
A cold day of work today to create this year's collection, and in a couple of weeks, a sweet celebration of its creation.
We celebrate ice wine and the fact that we can actually make such a cool product. We do it on always the last Saturday of January. So this year it is Saturday, January 31st.
The Ice Wine Festival, something for everyone. Snowman building, hot chocolate for the kids, samplings for the adults, and a look at the process for all. A 1 p.m. tour around the vineyards.
And then at 3 o'clock, we're doing another tour. This one's inside, so you don't have to dress as warm. But it's through our cellar where we make the ice wine and get to see how things are done as well.
And that evening, something a little formal. The annual Fire and Ice Dinner.
It's multi-courses. We will actually focus on our reserve reds along with the ice wine. So more of our elevated wines that we do offer. But they're each paired with a specific course.
A day of celebration made possible because of a day of very chilly work, providing an opportunity to sip, to celebrate, and to learn a little something.
The fact that we can make such a special product, it's cool to see exactly where it's done and how it's done in person.
All right. Thanks to our Mark Gillette for that report. For more information about the festival, the ice wine, and Chateau Chantal on Old Mission Peninsula, check out our website, UpNorthLive.com. And we will check in again with Joe to see the weather conditions, if we're going to see a little bit of a warm up as we inch through the weekend. Those details coming up next.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
I'm Dee Dee Gatton with the National News Desk in Washington, D.C., and this is your news update.
It's a big force. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching it very closely.
President Trump says American warships are on their way to Iran, quote, just in case, amid large-scale unrest. Iran said it's restored order after weeks of deadly protests there, but the death toll had climbed to over 5,000 just yesterday, according to the human rights activist news agency. Plus, today and tomorrow, representatives from the United States, Russia, and Ukraine are meeting in the United Arab Emirates to discuss the war in Ukraine. Officials say it's the first trilateral meeting since the war began nearly 4 years ago. Also,
I'm grateful for this movement, for the truth that is on our side. And frankly, I'm thankful for the technological breakthroughs that have allowed us to affirm and protect life.
Vice President J.D. Vance addressed thousands of pro-life advocates at this year's March for Life in Washington, D.C. Today, crowds marched from the National Mall to the Supreme Court. Organizers say it's the biggest annual human rights demonstration in the world. And that's your news update.
The National News Desk can be seen on ABC 2098 on Saturday night and 11:30 and Sundays at midnight. Turning over now to weather to check out what we can expect as we head to the weekend with these frigid temperatures. Here's Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa. Cold day today. In fact, hardly any schools in session today, just with the cold weather that we had out there. Let's start off. These are the high temperatures today. Now, some of these were actually just after midnight. So this goes midnight to midnight. So Manistee 7, Ludington 7. But during the afternoon today, it actually got even a little colder. So some spots were below zero through the afternoon hours today. But these are the official high temperatures. Sheboygan 3, Sault Ste. Marie, your high today 1 degree. That was it. Wind chill right now. You take that west wind, you factor it in to the temperature, and this is what we come up with, what it feels like out there. Newberry 24 below. Cadillac right now there in Wexford County, it feels like 21 below zero, 13 below at Alpena currently. And as we take a look at our coldest wind chill readings around northern Michigan, Kalkaska topping the list here with 38 below. Mackinac Island, 34 below the wind chill there. Houghton Lake, Manistee, Cadillac, 30 below. And Traverse City had a wind chill earlier of 26 below zero. The weather map tonight, cold front heading off the East Coast. And look at the cold air all the way from, well, pretty much the Atlantic Ocean out to the Rocky Mountains tonight. This is dropping into the upper Great Lakes region. A lot of cold here. This is going to continue to drop south and link up with a developing storm system. And look at this. These are all in the pink there. Winter storm warnings, which encompass a large portion of the country, to be honest with you. These are ice storm warnings around Atlanta into parts of North and South Carolina, where they're looking at significant icing. Of course, we dealt with that last year. You know what that was like in the Gaylord area, Sheboygan. Northern Michigan had our own ice storm. They're dealing with that in the south tonight. We also have some lake effect snow. It's a very powdery snow, so it's blowing around a little bit tonight. And that will kind of continue overnight. But then tomorrow, this should start to diminish somewhat. Except right near Lake Michigan, we may hold on to a few snow showers. I do not expect a lot of snow this weekend, and very little, if any, expected on Sunday as well. So as far as snow is concerned, most of that will fall tonight, early tomorrow. There's a look at it. Maybe another 1 to 3 inches here. Otherwise, that's it for the upcoming weekend for snowfall. So travel actually improving. Still some snow, blowing snow tomorrow, but then Sunday, Monday, actually not bad if you have travels with regard to the snowfall. Temperature-wise, cold one tomorrow, single digits and teens. There we are on Sunday, single digits and teens expected. So a cold weekend, it's just not going to be as cold as it was today. There's our wind chill forecast. Not as bad tomorrow, but many spots still staying below zero as far as the wind chill is concerned on Saturday. And then Sunday, a little improvement as we head into the second half of the weekend. So overnight tonight, 2 below to 14, or 2 above rather to 14 below. Most everyone heading below zero though, scattered lake effect snow. And then tomorrow, 5 to 11, snow showers near Lake Michigan, some sunshine in spots with another cold afternoon. And then Sunday, low and mid-teens, partly cloudy north, more clouds south. And here is the extended forecast. And I'll say this, even though it's cold, it's actually fairly quiet. No major storms coming in here. We're just in a chilly pattern. We stay in the teens through next week. Looks like a little clipper comes in Monday night into Tuesday, maybe lingering into Wednesday with a chance for a few snow showers there. Otherwise, that's about it.
All right, thanks for that, Joe. Coming up, sports director Harrison Beebe gives us a preview of tonight's hometown highlights. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Sports director Harrison Beebe is out in the cold temperatures covering high school basketball tonight. But for a preview of hometown highlights and some other big games tonight, we're going to check in with Harrison in this pre-recorded segment.
We are counting down to tip off for another Friday night of high school basketball, and it's a cold one out there. A lot of games have been postponed, but there are still a big chunk of games taking place as Northern Michigan athletes are toughing out the cold temps to play games on the hardwood tonight. And our signature matchup comes from the Big North Conference, Cadillac hosting Gaylord in girls basketball. And this is a conference that's really up for grabs. Petoskey, Cadillac, and Gaylord all near the top with one league loss apiece. Speaking of highlights, let's jump already to the Traverse City Women's Hockey Showcase taking place at Center Ice Arena this afternoon. It's going through the entire weekend. There's going to be high school level games, college level games. A lot of excitement if you're a hockey fan. The Bay Reps took on the Traverse City North Stars U16 team, and it was the Reps getting the first goal of this one in the first period to take a 1-0 lead, but the North Stars ended up tying things up after 2 periods of play. In the end, the TCU North Stars got the win over the Bay Reps 3-2 to start off the local action of this Center Ice event this weekend. More sports going on tonight. We know a great doubleheader in basketball that we'll be keeping an eye on. In the NBA, the Detroit Pistons back at Little Caesars Arena taking on the Houston Rockets. And Ohio State visits Michigan in the college hoops rivalry. This weekend, if it's still going to be too cold for you, we know Sunday is going to be a big day for football. The National Football League semifinal games will be taking place. The conference championship games. We know the first game at 3 o'clock will involve the New England Patriots heading to the Denver Broncos. What will happen in that one? Broncos without their starting quarterback in Bo Nix, who suffered a season-ending injury in the divisional round last week. In the NFC, that seems to be the signature matchup at 6:30 as Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams on the road for the third time this postseason, taking on the rival in their division, the Seattle Seahawks. We will find out what the Super Bowl 60 matchup will be by the end of Sunday. And, of course, Super Bowl 60 going to be on TV 7 and 4 in just a few weeks' time.
All right, thanks for that, Harrison. Coming up, we're going to take a look at those live results for our question of the day coming up after this.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
All right, let's take a look at that question of the day. How many states have you visited? We did get several responses. Catherine says all 50. Perry says all but Hawaii and Alaska. Stella says 17 states for me. I still have a lot of traveling to do. I feel you there, Stella. Kenny says 34. Let's see who else we have here. Laura says 6. Sally says 48. And Kathy says 37. D says 10. And you can see all the poll results there too on your screen. You can still chime in. Go to our Facebook page, Up North Live, and our website, UpNorthLive.com. Let us know how many states you have visited. Thank you for tuning in tonight for Unscripted. We hope to see you back here at 11. Stay safe out there.